Hello everyone, I am Jamarl Thomas. I am your host. This is the Progressive Soapbox. This is not Groundhog's Day. Yes, I did this video once before, but I didn't like that last video, so I'm going to do this video again. Chelsea Manning is out. Now, one of my subscribers sent up a super chat just before I finished, not the last video, but the last video. This is like saying new. But you get my point. As I was walking out this morning to the bathroom, my wife usually gets up before I do. I'm in bed. I usually go through stories that I want to do for the day and get kind of research. And so as I'm walking to the bathroom, my wife says, Chelsea Manning's out. And I was like, oh, good. What's the details? I don't know. Is she out for good? I don't know. You didn't get any information? I just read the headline. To which I chided her. You know, most people only read the headlines, but that kind of gives them misinformation about what the story is. She was like, well, that's your job. I just kind of told you about it, the headline. That said, I got an opportunity to look further into the story. So there's a catch. She's out with a catch. Now, as you know, she was given a subpoena. She was given a subpoena to appear at the grand jury to testify before the grand jury. Manning, Chelsea, said no. She refused to testify, to which they put her in jail. Now, she had been in jail for 62 days before the subpoena ran out. They were going to give her another subpoena, to which her lawyers has already said, again, no, she's not going to testify. Now, here's the catch. When they're going to give her a subpoena, I think it was May 16th. There's a catch. The judge would only keep the person in prison as long as they believe that the state can coerce the person to talk. That is a weird catch. As long as they believe that you're a break, they will keep you in to see if you're break. The moment that your judge thinks that the imprisonment is punitive, the judge stops. So Manning may be out for good, or the judge may decide she still can be coerced, in which case they're going to put her back in jail. That is such a weird standard. Her lawyers have already said, look, this notion that you're going to break her is folly. She was in the military at one point. Her principals allowed her to release information, whistleblow, on things that the military was doing that was grisly behind the scenes that she believed the public needed to know about. Her ideals, her principles, these things are not necessarily going to break with you, put her in jail. Not to mention, she had already been tortured in jail. She had already been in jail for years before you even got to the point of giving her a subpoena to put her in jail further. Why do you believe that additional time is going to break her? That's the argument that the lawyer is making. I think that's a damn good argument. Let's look a little bit at the story. I'm not going to keep this long just because there's not a huge amount on the story, but I just wanted to kind of give a heads up since in my own household, this was a story I cared about, and my wife even cared about it. Mrs. Manning spent 62 days in jail on a contempt charge, but was released as terms of her grand jury. She was supposed to give evidence to expired. And just for the top part, Chelsea Manning, the former U.S. intelligence analyst, has been released from prison after she was jailed for refusing to testify at a grand jury investigating WikiLeaks. All of this is about WikiLeaks. Here's an interesting connection with this, and I have a story on Julian Assange coming up after this. They're trying to get Julian Assange extradited to the United States. That's the first part. Well, how are you going to get evidence on Julian Assange? Because the argument is that Julian Assange is a hacker. That's the argument of the U.S. government. Now, this should have a chilling effect on journalists if they're going to go after Julian Assange in this way. But they need her to crack. Like, how are they going to get evidence on Assange? Everything that we know up to this point is that Assange was the person who put it up. Meaning, it's like you give it to me and I post it for the audience and the world to see. That's legal. William Barr. When Barr came out with the Mueller report, there was a side note that Barr made that most people paid no attention to, but for whatever reason brought this up and said, if the person is just a publisher, that's legal. Can't touch you for it. Meaning, they need to establish that Julian Assange wasn't just a publisher, but he was also a hacker. The person who assists with that is Manning. They're trying to get her to crack in order to go after Assange. Now, right here. Earlier this week, Mrs. Manning lawyers filed papers arguing that she would not be jailed again. She should not be jailed again because she has proven that she will stick to her principles and would not testify no matter how long she is jailed. At this point, given the sacrifice she's already made, her strong principles, her strong and growing support community, and the disgraced attendant to her capitulation. Oh, I love that one. The disgraced Oh God, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that he was able to write that line. It is inconceivable that Mrs. Chelsea Manning will ever change her mind about her refusal to cooperate with the grand jury, her lawyers wrote. Death before dishonor. Oh, I love that. I know I'm wowing off that, but I'm a sucker for epicness. This line, and the growing support community and the disgrace attendant to her capitulation. God, that's so fucking epic. I'm sorry, it is. There's another part. Cooperation with this grand jury is simply not an option. Doing so would mean throwing away all of my principles, accomplishments, sacrifices, and erase decades of my reputation. An obvious impossibility, she wrote. You know, it's very possible that she told the lawyer that, and the lawyer crafted this statement based on what she told the lawyer. Either way, whichever way that went, that is an epic line. That is an extraordinarily epic line. I'm going to leave this here so you guys can see it. I'm going to put it at the bottom. But Chelsea Manning is out, at least for the time being. This channel, and I would imagine this audience, hopes she stays out. So, and I'll leave this here. Like I said, this one wasn't meant to be long. Thanks all. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the content. I always have to remember to say that, and ultimately what I might do is just create a little video that I can click on at the end of the video. But if you enjoy it, you find yourself coming back here often, please consider supporting PayPal or Patreon, or liking or sharing, whichever way you find to give assistance. Thanks all. Bye-bye.